ovaries. They produce ova and sex hormones, progesterone, estrogen, and relaxin. These are a pair of almond-shaped and sized structures, whose back wall is attached with double fold of peritoneum called mesovarium and with the uterus by an ovarian ligament. On the surface of ovary, many granule structures are seen which are developing eggs called Graafian follicles. Out of these, only one follicle reaches maturity in each menstrual cycle. The two ovaries produce eggs in alternate cycles. The mature follicle ruptures, causing release of oocyte. This is surrounded by a mass of granulosa cells, called ovulation. After ovulation, the rest of cells of follicle change into corpus luteum, which produces large amount of progesterone. Prior to ovulation, it secretes estrogen. Now, this mature egg is received by fallopian tube with the help of fimbriae. Let us study all this under the heading Accessory Organs, which has supportive role. Oviducts or fallopian tubes. These extend from the ovaries and open in upper angles of uterus and are having 10 cm of length. Each oviduct can be divided into infundibulum, ampulla, isthmus, uterine part. Infundibulum. It is the outer funnel-shaped part of fallopian tube, covering a part of the ovary. All along the margins, there are present finger-like processes called fimbriae. It opens near the ovary and receives eggs when released. Ampulla. It is 5 cm in length. Fertilization takes place in this part. Isthmus. It is medial part, which connects ampulla and uterus. Uterine part. It passes through the wall of uterus and is about 1 cm long. Uterus or womb. It is hollow, thick-walled, pear-shaped muscular organ having 7 cm length, 5 cm width and 2.5 cm thick walls. It is present in pelvic cavity between urinary bladder and rectum. Its upper dome-shaped expanded part is called fundus. The middle slightly constricted portion is called isthmus or body, and the lower, narrow, cylindrical part that projects into vagina is called cervix. It is lined internally by mucous membrane, called endometrium. At puberty, the uterus goes through the menstrual cycle. Then, embryo grows and develops in uterus until the time of delivery. Egg or ovum. Now, we talk about this female gamete, which is 1 mm in diameter, spherical and highly specialized cell. And it is much larger than the normal body cells. Its outer plasma membrane is called olemma or vitelline membrane. Outside this primary membrane, 2 more egg coats are present. The inner coat is called zona pellucida, which is thin, non-cellular and transparent coat. The outer coat is thick and cellular and is called corona radiata. Let's talk about the things inside the olemma. Bounded by olemma is ground substance called ooplasm. It is free of yolk That's why called elliptical, and contains a large haploid nucleus called germinal vesicle or female pronucleus. In females, the limits of reproductive life is between menarche and menopause. The first menstruation is known as menarche and appears in the young girl between the age of 12 to 14 years. It ceases with menopause, that is, cessation of reproduction at the age of 45 to 50 years. During this period, that is, between menarche and menopause, about 13 eggs mature each year. Since the female has about 32 years of reproductive life, up to 416 eggs have a chance of reaching maturity. The remaining eggs of the ovaries degenerate and are absorbed. One menstrual cycle is of 28 days in the reproductive life of a female. In this, approximately on mid-cycle, one mature egg releases. If this egg does not get fertilized, then menstruation occurs in which blood, mucus, unfertilized egg, and certain other substances come out at about 24 to 32 days for 3 to 5 days. Now, kids, let us understand how the menstruation occurs. During menstrual cycle, due to the effect of hormones, ovaries and uterus undergo many changes. These changes are divided into 3 phases: menstrual phase, secretory phase, proliferation phase. Menstrual phase. If the fertilization of ovum does not take place, the lining of the uterus degenerates. It breaks down due to inadequate nutrition of the superficial layers of endometrium. It leads to menstruation, which lasts for 3 to 5 days. Starting from the onset of menstrual flow, the ovary begins to form a new egg in a follicle. Proliferation phase. In this phase, the anterior pituitary begins the secretion of FSH, that is, follicle stimulating hormone. It stimulates the development of an ovarian follicle in the ovary. On the 13th or 14th day, that is in mid-cycle of menstrual cycle, one follicle reaches maturity and ovulation occurs. Ovulation means release of egg from the mature Graafian follicle. Now, the estrogen secreted by the Graafian follicle stimulates the proliferation of uterine mucosa. That is, it prepares a thick and highly vascular mucosal lining for the reception of fertilized egg. This proliferative or oestrogeny phase is of 6 to 14 days duration. If the fertilization and implantation occur, the endometrium persists and there is no menstruation till the pregnancy continues. The secretory phase or progestational or luteal phase. This phase commences usually on the 15th day of the cycle. In this phase, corpus luteum develops from the residual cells of Graafian follicle after ovulation. The corpus luteum secretes progesterone hormone. If pregnancy occurs, corpus luteum grows further. Progesterone has secretory effect on the uterine endometrium. It causes increased secretion and nutrient storage within the uterine mucosa. It prepares the uterus for the reception and nourishment of the fertilized ovum. It also has a quietening effect upon uterine mucosa. It favors implantation of embryo. Fertilization. Fusion of female gamete with a male gamete is called fertilization. Fertilization in human beings is internal. That is, it takes place inside the female reproductive tract. The site of fertilization in human beings is the oviduct or fallopian tubes. During sexual intercourse or coitus, about 5 milliliter semen is ejaculated in the vagina of female by the penis of male. A single ejaculation contains about 300 million sperms. The sperms are viable for 48 hours, after which they die and cannot fertilize the ovum. Process of fertilization. The sperms ejaculated in the vagina start ascending into the uterus by the thrashing or beating movements of the tail. From the uterus, they enter into the fallopian tubes. Only a few of the released sperms will get the ampulla of fallopian tubes. The energy required for the beating of the tail is provided by the mitochondria present in the middle piece of the sperms. If an egg is present in the oviduct during the viable life of sperms, a large number of sperms surround the egg from all sides. But out of all these sperms, only one will be able to enter into the egg. All other sperms will die and are absorbed. During fertilization, usually head and middle piece of sperm enter the egg. The tail is left behind, except in few cases where tail also enters. The entry of sperm into the egg is facilitated by the release of certain lysosomal enzymes. These enzymes are secreted by the acrosome of the sperm. These enzymes digest the limiting membranes of the egg and make path for the entry of the sperm into the egg. After the entry of sperm into the ovum, no more sperms can enter due to certain chemical barriers. After the entry of the sperm into the ovum, the sperm moves towards the haploid nucleus of the egg, that is 22 plus X chromosomes. Finally, the haploid nucleus of the sperm and the ovum fuse with each other, intermingling the chromosomes. The fusion of male and female pronuclei, that is haploid nuclei, is called amphimixis. It restores the diploid number of chromosomes in the zygote. Zygote is produced after the completion of fertilization. Fertilization occurs usually within 24 hours of ovulation.